Greetings, all you Jackson Jennets out there, and welcome to your Daily Dose of Donkey with Ginger. It's that time. It's week 9, Gingy. But first, we got to cover week 8. Good day in Steelerland. We put the Browns right back where they belong, in the cellar. Gingy, walk me through it.
Mutant Gigi in the house. What's up? Heck yeah, another W Donkey. Tough AFC North matchup. You know, last week I called for offensive explosion.
We have.
We got on. We did. Big plays were made. Donkey, did you see anything else around the league before we get started on Browns Steelers?
Wide receivers getting all sorts of drama. Odell Beckham Jr., Henry Ruggs with the car crash.
Oof. Tragedy.
Concussions everywhere. We did have what did you call him? We had a snot knocker. Boswell got a snot knocker.
I was gonna say someone. Unfortunately, one of our own got his snot knockered. Yeah, more on that later.
I watched the boring Thursday night game, but I thought it was interesting that now I've watched the Jets a couple times, and both of their backups, who are like just journeymen or unwanted guys, look better than the number 2 overall pick they took in Zach Wilson. So I don't know how the Jets should feel about that, but hey, almost made that game competitive. You got to give Josh Johnson some credit for stepping in and doing what he did for him. Good to see journeyman quarterbacks go out there and play well.
Well, if you're talking about offensive explosion, 45 points from the Colts, they laid it on them.
Does that Colts team know if they're good or bad?
No idea. I mean, specifically Carson Wentz, I don't think knows if he's good or bad.
Is this just the way the AFC is? Is no one can determine whether they're a good team or a bad team? We're all just going to play, hey, the Steelers look really good on defense but no offense, so they're kind of in the hunt. And you got the Colts who sometimes play defense, sometimes play offense, but very rarely play both. And then you have the Titans, who lost to the frickin' Jets and just lost Derrick Henry. Then you got the Bengals, who beat the Ravens, who the Ravens look good, but then look bad. And then the Bengals lose to the Jets, because the Jets are the Kingslayers. Is that what we should call them?
I guess so, in the AFC.
And then the team that seems to be the most consistent is somehow the the Las Vegas Raiders?
Oof.
What is going on in the AFC, Gingy?
I don't know. Looks a little bit inconsistent. Nobody really taking that dominant spot. A lot of midway type of teams. Like I said last week, all 2-loss teams. You have a ton of 1-loss teams, really dominant looking teams in the NFC. You don't necessarily have anyone pulling away from the pack like that in the AFC. Everyone has laid at least 1 or 2 stinkers so far this year.
That's the thing. The NFC, if you look at it, it's like the top 6 teams, right? And those top 6 teams have only lost to other top teams mostly. You're talking Green Bay, Arizona, Los Angeles Rams, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, New Orleans Saints, Dallas Cowboys. Yep. They all play good and don't lose to bad teams. And you got the AFC, who even the top tier teams have all lost to someone like the frickin' Jets.
Yep.
Or they get pushed to the brim by the Miami Dolphins. This might be a year where the Steelers being mediocre and slipping into the playoffs could lead to something. Just saying.
Let's go.
Also, I guess we should talk about a trade I absolutely hate. Melvin Ingram has been a contributing part to this team. Melvin Ingram is the only depth we have at outside linebacker, and we just give him to another team that we're going to compete for the wild card against in the Chiefs, who need pass rushers, for essentially free. And the reason I say that is we got a 6th-rounder in return, right?
Right.
All right, there's a guy who's been inactive for us for 3 straight weeks now and has seen 4 snaps total on defense. That's Ahkello Witherspoon. Do you know what we gave up to get him? Do you? It was a 5th-rounder. So a dude who does nothing is worth a 5th-rounder, but a guy who contributes only nets us a 6th-rounder from a team we're competing against. I hated that trade. I think that trade was stupid. I would have much rather ate the rest of Ingram's salary and kept him here than let him go. Because I know we're going to hear the Mike Tomlin, I'd rather have volunteers than hostages. Really, how'd that work in, was it 2017 playoffs when LeGarrette Blount went to New England and ended up helping them win a Super Bowl? And we were starting, do you even remember who we started in that game that we lost in the playoffs?
I don't.
Yeah, me neither. That's exactly my point. I don't care if they're a volunteer, if they're a hostage, if they're the better player, they should stay on the team. But Gingy, I know you feel a little different on this trade.
I don't know, Donkey. I mean, you make a good point there, but I'm pretty sure Steelers are a little gun shy of guys making a problem in the locker room. Pretty sure they're a little bit gun shy after things like Le'Veon Bell and the season sit out. I think, because of those things, they're a little bit more akin to lend itself to a player's womanness, and that's kind of the way the whole league's moving.
It also led us to losing Steven Nelson, and that's been a huge hit. Does that show a lack of leadership in this locker room, and can you win without it? Can you win big with a lack of leadership? Because I've honestly felt we beat the Browns because they don't have any kind of cohesion, because they don't have any kind of leadership. I mean, are we bound to be the Browns if we can't keep players in line?
I still think it's moving towards a players-driven league, Donkey. I think this is a shift. It's not only happening. I think it's even happening last on the Steelers. I think Steelers are one of the last teams to hold out to these type of bargaining arrangements and leverage that's being utilized by players. What do you think?
I don't know. I feel like the Steelers have been given into players for a long time. I just don't think you've ever seen it spill over because, let's be honest, winning does a lot to keep people quiet.
It does.
The Steelers win. When you win, people are quiet. But I mean, look at the things we know they let happen with Antonio Brown. Look at the things we let know happen with Le'Veon Bell. Look at the things we know they've let happen for Ben Roethlisberger. I honestly feel the Steelers have been doing this for a long time. I just don't think you hear it from the Steelers because when you win, the shit stays in-house. When you lose, things a problem, right?
Well, guess we know what we need to do next then, eh?
Win? Yeah, I agree. Anyway, bring me through what you saw in the Browns game, which I finally got to watching today.
Today is
Saturday.
Clock's back day in the United States, Donkey. It's we're a week ahead of time and losing an hour. You're a bit behind on the game.
That was like a vintage 1970s football game. Is that what you're gonna tell me?
Yeah, it was a turn back the clock.
That's not knockout.
15-10. Not very often in the 2020 era are you seeing 15-10 football, Donkey. What?
Hey, I have started to come to the realization an offensive explosion, as you like to call it for the Steelers, is if we get 20 points.
Listen, the explosion that I was determining wasn't there. We did get to see, one big play at least. There was the 50-yarder to Deontay there
at the end when they sold out. Yep.
And so that was nice, but we still stuck to that formula that I've spoken of before. Ben Roethlisberger with only 34 pass attempts, over 106 QBR, and Donkey key stat.
Dropped interceptions should always be the key stat because
total
that's like the third
turnovers.
straight game Ben has thrown a ball straight to a defender and they dropped it, which is exactly what we need to do to win. I don't care. Keep doing it because I love it. I personally love it. Ben's going to throw one to the other team. You know it. So what we need to have happen, like we have the last 3 weeks, is we need him to drop it.
Total turnovers, Donkey. 0 for the Steelers and 1 for the Browns. And what do you know? It's the difference
Jarvis
in the
Landry,
game.
Thank you for the win because your hands purely gave the Steelers the win. I really do appreciate it. But tell me that I should feel that this is... I feel this is 2019 where praying to God the quarterback doesn't aim. Like, why, with our quote-unquote franchise Hall of Famer, am I feeling like I have to pray like it's 2019 that our quarterback just doesn't lose the game?
Whoa, living on a... Yeah, Yeah, it's kind of like that, Donkey. Um, I don't know, but it's gritty. This team, I think, is showing a little bit of character, in my opinion. What they're lacking in raw talent, don't. We're getting these wins week to week, clawing back. All right, this team was in the cellar in the AFC North. People were pronouncing them dead. Oh, look at the Browns. Look at those Bengals and Ravens. Ravens are still pretty formidable. But listen, the Browns and Bengals.
So are those Bengals.
I see the Browns and Bengals as very vulnerable and right for the picking.
You have to remember that Bengals team already beat us at Heinz, right?
Right for the inconsistent though. That could have been the game of the year for them. Seriously,
I don't disagree with you. I will give you. I'm not quite ready to say we're on the Ravens Bengals level yet because that Jet team seems to be giant slayer, so I'm not going to hold that hard against them. I will say the dysfunction in Cleveland, who arguably has, and maybe not even arguably, let's be honest, that team has the most talented roster in this division, but they can't get it done. I think it's because they actually might have the worst quarterback play right now because Mayfield, remember those years where it felt like we were losing a few games because wasn't right and wasn't able to make the throws an average quarterback can make. That's what it looked like with Mayfield last week, is he was missing some easy throws. The consistency isn't there because of his injury. And Cleveland, you have a Mayfield problem because do you pay that guy? Because it could really set you back a long ways if you pay a guy who doesn't earn it. And this was a year for him to show it. And now you have to judge off last year because I don't think injured Baker is going to get the done for him this year. And be another wasted year of a rookie contract for the Browns. And going forward, once they start paying him, hey, maybe the seller's where they're going to stay.
Another question mark. Yeah, quite unfortunate. Clearly the injury is impactful, and yeah, leaves more question marks in Cleveland about what they're going to do with their guy. Yeah, dang, Donkey, it's a tough call. I don't think you have enough information, but you can't dump them now, are you? I don't think there's no. What are you going to replace them with? There's not a ton. There's not an overabundance of talent out there.
If I'm Cleveland, I franchise tag him this year before I give a long-term contract. I franchise tag him this offseason and give him a year to prove it healthy. That's what I would do. But there's two specific plays I really, really want to talk about that I think changed this game. The first is the way TJ Watt started to take over once Jack Conklin got hurt in the end of the first, start of the second quarter, somewhere in that time frame. I was watching the game and just that edge became just, it wasn't there anymore. The Browns couldn't run any plays to the right-hand side. And that means you're running every play at Cam Hayward. That was huge for the Steelers, Gingy.
Yeah, TJ Watt dominating overall, really consistent play. 6 games played. He missed a game so far this year. 8.5 sacks in 6 games, consistent across the board. Impactful plays, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. This dude is flying around the ball constantly.
He is. I actually think we witnessed who's going to win the NFL Defensive Player of the Year this year in that game, and I don't think it was TJ Watt. Dude, Myles Garrett is legit.
Garrett, yeah.
That dude is a scary man.
He is number 1 on the sacks so far this year.
I'm just glad that we went with the quick passing Ben this week because honestly, if you watch the game and people were trying to be like, oh, Dan Moore did good. Dude, Dan Moore didn't slow him down on any plays. The only thing that helped Dan Moore was Ben was throwing the ball in half a second. Because, oh, my Lord, Garrett was in the backfield. But the second play, and I think this is what beat us or led to us beating Buffalo in week 1, is these young coaches who think that 4th and 1, when you're winning a game and your defense is playing great, is something you should go for. I feel this game changed when Stefanski decided to go for it on 4th and 1 at the Steelers' 40 when he was up 3 points and his defense was dominating, hence giving the Steelers a short field, which led to our first score, which really, if you watch after that, our offense was opened up and looked a lot different. Why are these young coaches, when they're winning games, their defense is playing great, why are they going for it in situations where they should just trust their defense?
It's an offensive leaning league, Donkey, and a lot of coaches a lot of coaches want to see the game decided on that side of the ball, and when they have that opportunity in front of them, they feel like they should take it. But I don't know. I feel like more often than not, it puts them in a tough spot. I'm glad I'm not the one on the sidelines having to make the call.
Yeah. Also, game-changing play because it made us go for it on fourth down, and we actually scored a couple touchdowns because we made it on fourth down. A fake kick with Boswell throwing the ball. Like, didn't we need 17 yards on that fourth down or something? Maybe it was only 7, but it was more than a couple.
Well, Donkey, when you were talking about game-changing plays, I really thought that one might have been one of the ones that came up on your list. I mean, you see the Steelers not even willing to march out there. If we lost, it would have changed the game, but I still think
it would have been number one.
It still changed the course of the game significantly. I think that game looks more like a blowout, Donkey, if we're able to put some points via the field goal unit up there, an extra point, a field goal, a couple different things there that we chose to put our offense back out in the field for a fourth down and a couple 2-pointers and dang, I don't know. I mean, if Boswell nails that and doesn't get his head blowed off, we look like geniuses. But yeah, he got his head blowed off.
First off, do you trust anything that's designed by Danny Smith to make us look like geniuses?
No, don't.
I sure as hell
chews that bubble gum very convincingly.
I never thought I would say you're right about Danny Smith on like something semi-positive, I guess. But you're right. He definitely knows how to chew a piece of bubble gum.
He chews it very convincingly. I feel like he looks like a man who knows what he's doing. I don't know, Donkey. I don't know, though.
I give me a minute while I try to recollect myself after he chews bubble gum convincingly. Alright, so we gotta talk AFC North. I guess we're done with the Browns recap. Who cares? The Browns are in the cellar. Is anybody surprised?
Nope. Not I.
Crickets. I need to buy a couple. You can hear them next time I say something like that. Anyway, other AFC North game. I guess you could say a surpriser. The Bengals lose to the Jets, and I'm gonna be honest here. The Bengals should have blown them out, but they lose to the Jets, and they lose on. I hate to say this, but it is the most bullshit call in the NFL. When a defender gets down low to hit someone in the gut and the offensive player drops his helmet to that level and then the defensive player gets penalized, that's some garbage. And that's what happened on the Jets' last drive that gave them the lead, was a huge penalty against former Steeler Mike Hilton, where he's going to tackle the dude in the gut, but the receiver decides to drop his head, so now it's helmet to helmet. That stuff needs to be reviewable. Because when an offensive player initiates the contact, the defense should not get punished.
Yeah, it's a tough break.
Big break for the Steelers.
Tough break for Hilton there. Yeah, I don't know, Donkey. Pretty easy to be riding high on the Bengals after their big win over the Ravens the week before. Let me ask you this. Do you think that a team like that, do you think that discipline is involved in a thing like that? After such a large win, do you think that they were still riding a little high off that from the week before?
No, I'm going to tell you something right now. There are two teams that I think are going to get better through this whole year and are going to surprise some people. And the way Van Pelt can make an offense is the Jets. That's one that's going to pull off some more wins because Van Pelt, say what you want, he was working with a third-string quarterback last week against the Colts, and he put up some numbers. His backup's looking pretty darn good out there in white. Van Pelt's a pretty smart offensive coordinator. I'm pretty sure it's Van Pelt. I might have the wrong guy there.
You think he's going to be able to get it done with when Wilson comes back out there?
I don't know. That's the biggest thing to me is he honestly looks like the worst of the three quarterbacks as their second overall pick, so maybe he gets hurt again. But I like Saleh as a coach. I think the Jets might pull off a couple more upset wins. So I'm not overly looking at. It was a bad game. The Bengals shouldn't have done it. Were they riding a little high? Yeah. I think what more happened is the Bengals have some flaws on defense. And I've known this. I said it before. I was surprised by where the Bengals were because I didn't expect their defense to be as consistent as it has been to this point. They laid a stinker on defense. Look what they did on offense. They still put up with 30-something points, right?
Right.
That's where that team is built, is through that offense. That defense is a weak point and will always be a weak point. If a team with a smart offensive coordinator can exploit it, there's going to be troubles. It's like, remember how the Steelers can never beat a certain guy, Josh McDaniels? It's because certain coordinators know how to expose certain defenses. I think that's what happened to the Bengals. And you know what? I'll lead into our first picks. That's why I think the Bengals come out and beat the Brownies by 2 touchies.
2 14.
Two touchies.
2 touchies.
2 touchies.
Donkey. Oh my. And that's in Cincinnati, right?
I believe so.
If we're talking picks real quick, I actually will go with you on the Bengals at home that week, but I don't think it's going to be by 2 touchies. I'm going to say Bengals by 6. And the distractions in Cleveland are going to continue, and the voices are going to continue to mount, and it's going to be a circus here sometime before Thanksgiving, Donkey. I can assure you.
Yeah, that's... Laskers likes the Browns over the Bengals 24-18. If we want to get to the other one, other AFC North game is Ravens-Vikings, and Laskers likes the Ravens over the Vikings. Gingy, what you feeling?
Yeah, I'm thinking Ravens over Vikings too. Ravens coming off a bye last week. Is that correct?
Yep.
I think Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh has that unit prepared, and yeah, Ravens over Vikings. I'm gonna say Ravens by a touchdown.
2 touchies. I think the Ravens win by 2 touchies. Sorry, Kirk Cousins, but I don't like that. Yeah, I don't know. This AFC North is full of interesting teams to me. You have the Ravens, who are clearly, in my mind, the best team, but they're injured. So are they really the best team? And you have the Bengals that have the best offense, but probably the worst defense. Then you have the Steelers that have the worst offense, but probably the most consistent defense. I don't know if they're best talent-wise, but definitely the most consistent and best performing defense, man.
Defense.
Maybe not in turnovers, maybe not in sacks. And then you have the Browns, who have the most talented roster, the worst coaching staff. So right now, arguably the worst offense and the worst defense, because Baker... I thought Baker would be a better quarterback than he is. I think the injury's hurting him a lot. But right now, if you had to ask me to take one of the two, I would take Ben over Baker right now.
The Steelers with the defense with the most potential for explosion. All right.
Most potential to be consistent.
I
think if you're going explosion, you have to say the Browns, right? Because they're the most out of the groups.
Listen,
they're either going to put up a shutout or give up 40.
If we're going to talk about an explosion, we're going to come talk about a guy who, I don't know, Donkey, you've given a little heat to this season, who comes through in this game at the end. Big game, big 6-tackle game from Joe Schobert, making the big play at the end. TJ jumps on it. That's the type of thing that I'm talking about. Big plays and big moments.
Side note, you want to talk about big plays and big moments. You see that cut Dearness Johnson put on that made Devin Bush just run to the next decade on that touchdown?
I don't recall the specific one that you're talking. Yeah, I do remember the touchdown.
The only touchdown the dang Browns had, okay?
What do you think about Dearness Johnson? I mean, I know the Browns are a running football team, but they seem to be churning out good running backs over there.
If you put on his college tape, the dude makes moves, the dude makes people miss. You put on his tape in, was it the AFL? I think, or the AA, whatever the first one was. I don't think it was the XFL. I think he played in the first one. He made people miss. He was, I believe, the leading all-purpose yard guy in the league. You want to know what kept this dude from being on an NFL roster?
What's that?
How he showed up in shorts, because he ran a 4.840 at the combine. The dude doesn't perform in shorts, so he didn't get a chance in pads. But if you put on his tape ever, he makes a miss. And yes, I do believe Cleveland does really good at run blocking. They have good coaching there in terms of that stuff. And most backs, they put in their work. But I think Dearness Johnson has a little something to him. He's not going to be explosive home run guy like a Saquon Barkley, right? He's not going to outrun people down the sideline, but he makes those cuts, and he's quick out of those cuts, and that's something that's important. It's very Le'Veon Bell-esque, right? Patience, cut, explosion. You don't have to run a 4.4 to be good in this league. If you can get that first 2 steps away from a guy, that's a 6-yard carry before he catches you. I I just had I had to bring that up because when I watched the replay of that from the back angle, and you just see Bush overrun him by 5 yards. I'm like, oh,
Dang.
that's dirty.
Dang, brutal donkey.
It was dirty. Anything else to get into before we talk about the Bears?
Let me think. No, I mean, aside from I don't know, did you see any news on Ball? I believe Boswell's participant in practice this
Playing,
week, coming
allegedly.
back for this game.
I saw
correct?
both him and Ben are a go for the game.
Well,
Ebron's out again. I know you're heartbroken.
oh my! But I think that's really important. I'm glad that mishap didn't become anything further there.
Oh, I'll tell you what's really important. Khalil Mack's not playing. That's
Ooh.
really important.
That is very important. No,
They still have Robert Quinn though. Ugh, that's a little scary.
yeah, I think we're ready to get into some Bears talk here.
Yeah, I don't know if I said mine, but I said the Ravens by 2 touchdowns. I was like, I don't know if I made my last prediction.
Two tutties.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to it. I'll break down the Bears team a little bit for you since I do the research into them. I've watched them play a little bit. I'll tell you is Justin Fields has had some really bad days, like 5 interceptions against Tampa Bay, but he's also had some good days. You know, he's a rookie. Steelers tend to do really good against rookies, so we'll say that. But he's a rookie backup, so I don't know if you're going to technically call him backup, but he was a rookie backup, and Ryan Finley, anybody? But they're a team. They run the ball pretty well. They're supposed to get back David Montgomery. At least that's what the talk is. They're going to activate him, and he could play right away in this week. That's huge for them. They also have a rookie running back, Khalil Herbert, who's been really good 3 of the last 4 weeks since he's got the starting job. He's up there now with about 400 yards. He has a touch. He's 4.3 a carry. He's been over 70 yards, over 80 yards, I believe, in 3 of his 4 games as a starter. Fields, really mobile guy. Completed about 60% of his passes. Running quarterbacks can give any team a fit. So it's another game the Steelers have to cover all 11 players. But when you look at Chicago, let's be honest here. The Steelers weak, their secondary. The Bears are 32nd in passing. The Steelers' strength is their front 7. The Bears are 6th in rushing. What you're saying here is strength is going against strength. Someone has to come out on top. I really feel like this is a good matchup for the Steelers. I don't see where the Bears are going to get it. I guess you could say Allen Robinson's poised to break out. Our old friend Jesse James scored a touchdown for the Bears last week. They started to use tight ends more. And tight ends, Steelers, bad news. That's what I see on their offense, at least, Gingy.
Well, I mean, that doesn't... I like strength on strength. I think that we have a more talented roster overall. I think that that's going to lead to some success. Really like Steelers' chances. Prime time at home. Usually a time where we outperform ourselves, and I hope to see that this week.
Prime time at home, all I can think is the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm just saying, last prime time at home game I remember, or at least, wasn't that a Monday nighter?
I don't know, was it?
I believe that was a Monday nighter because I don't think I got to watch that game right away. Maybe I did. Maybe it was a Sunday nighter, but it was a something nighter. I know last time we played the Bears, I believe it was a 2017 loss in overtime, maybe.
Yes, I believe it was. Actually, we gave up a long run at the end of the game.
That's something that hasn't changed since 2017, giving up long runs by the Steelers.
Let's not cast any of that bad juju over any of that this week, donkey.
We don't have any juju at all anymore, Gingy. Yeah. He's on the IR. Come on now.
Yes, I don't want to put any bad juju on it, but I'm thinking about X factors for this week, donkey. And I think on the defensive side of the ball, I'm looking for that defensive line again to step up. I know I picked Cameron Hayward last week, but when you're talking about a team that's 32nd in passing and 6th in rushing, I'm really looking for our front 7 guys, you know, and the guys on the rotation, specifically the guys who stepped up last week. The Worms, the Loudermilks, the Mondoos, the Bugses, those guys are really
I
get
like
in there and be able to
Okay,
contribute on that.
I watched the game twice today. They said Loudermilk got a sack. I still didn't see it. I watched the game twice, and I must have missed it both times. When the hell did Loudermilk get a sack?
I'm just looking at the box score here, Donkey. I can't remember when that went down.
Me too. Me neither. I watched the game twice today. The second time specifically to see when he got the sack, and I still missed it. I was like, how the hell did that happen?
But yeah. That's so. I don't know if you make me pick one down on defense. I'm gonna have to go with Bugs.
I like Bugs. I like him playing the nose. Laskers, by the way, gave us his stuff. You already heard his scores. His X factor on defense is T.J. Watt, because that dude's just a playmaker. I again feel the secondary at some point needs to get a damn interception. When was the last time we had an interception?
I don't know. Too long. Where's Minka?
So again, my X factor is going to be Minka. He actually played well last week. Did a good job. Made some passing and completion. So hey. At least he's starting to step up a little. But until further notice and this secondary shows me something, my X factor is going to be the secondary. And I think the best chance of a person making a play in it is Minka. Because, let's be honest, it's a running game. T. Boogie's going to be in the box all day. So, was he the last guy to have an interception for us? Side note?
He might have been.
All right. I like Minka as a defensive X factor. When you go to offense, you're talking Steelers, another game where they can't get over 4 yards a carry. Another game where the offense was averaging under 7 yards per pass attempt until the DJ 50-yarder, which changed everything. But another game where the balanced attack showed to be successful. Now, albeit, I don't know if you call 15 points successful, but when the other team only scores 10, damn straight it is, right?
Right.
What are we looking at when we play offense here?
Donkey, going in tandem with my first pick, a little bit outside of the box this week, I'm looking for some more offense to be generated in different aspects of the running game. We have Najee at 26 attempts again last week. I'd like to see a little bit more McFarland and Ballage in there. But my offensive X factor this week, Donkey, and maybe not only see him contribute a little bit on offense, maybe in a running game, but also on special teams, Ray McCloud.
Remember when I said Ray used to make me happy, now he just makes me nervous? Last week was the exact example I'm talking about. The dude fumbles the ball in the most inopportune time. Thank God it rolls right to Justin Lane. Ugh.
Yes. Yes, I'd like to see more end around, more misdirection, and maybe even see him break one in the return game.
I would like to see less of Ray McCloud. I hope you're right. Don't get me wrong. I hope you're right. No, I do hope you're right. I just want to see less of Ray McCloud because he just makes me nervous now because he puts that ball on the ground way too often. Lasker's X factor for offense is Najee. I want to talk about something you mentioned, a name you mentioned, because you wanted to see more of Kalen Ballage. If I see them pitch the ball to our slowest damn running back again, I might just lose my mind. It's like, if you're going to run a pitch play, you do it to McFarland, the speedy guy. Did you watch Ballage try to outrun a defensive lineman and then realize the defensive lineman, Myles Garrett's faster than him? Because I did, and it made me sad.
No bueno, Donkey.
So please just no more pitch plays to the slower of the running backs. I like Lasker's pick there. Najee's a good X factor. He's a good back. He needs to show that he's elite somewhere, though. It's nice being good everywhere, but you're a first-round draft pick. You need to be elite somewhere. And maybe his eliteness we'll see 5 years from now isn't that he was elite anywhere other than availability, which in the running back position, being elite in terms of availability is a good thing, right?
Want to be versatile.
My extra, and you feel free to laugh and judge off this, Zach Gentry.
Tell me more.
If you watch the two tight end sets, he seems to be getting those 12, 15-yard, big third down, big fourth down conversions. Conversion downs are what has been the difference for the Steelers recently. You look at it, we've been playing on par, maybe slightly behind our opponents. Their yards per play, plays had, turnover margin up till last week was only ever just even, right? The big difference is the Steelers, when they've been getting to the red zone, they're scoring touchdowns at a better percentage than the opponents. The Steelers on third downs are converting more than the opponents. The Steelers on fourth down, since last week we finally converted a couple for the first time all year, getting our percentage up to a still league worst 22% on fourth down. Oof. But at least we converted some. On fourth down, we converted some. I think possession downs are always the biggest downs. And I think the guy who is showing to me, he comes in on these packages where we're trying to make it look like we have the chance to run on third downs and is making the catches because he's the one being left open, is Gentry. And I think that needs to happen more and more. What does this 6'12"? Well, 6'12" needs to keep catching the damn football. And when he's open in the end zone, Ben, you don't overthrow him, okay? That's all I want to say.
Very nice, Donkey. I think the Steelers continue this winning streak. I think they continue to ride high through this one. I'm looking at the Steelers 24-16 over the Bears.
Ooh. Offensive explosion.
Explosion, Donkey.
Over 20 points. Definitely an explosion. Oh, by the way, fun part, I have to say first. Steelers-Bears, this upcoming game. Both teams, after week 8, in a modern era where the average points per game is like 27 or something, both teams are coming in averaging under 20 points a game. So, really high explosive potential here. You know what that means. This is going to be like a 40-42 game, right?
Wow. 40-42. Wow.
I have no idea. I'm just saying.
That'd be more points than we scored in the last 2 games combined.
The last year? Laskers likes the Bears over the Steelers 28-21, but he's on the picking the Steelers picking the Steelers to lose because he's jinxing them if he picks them to win. For me, I like the Steelers here. I don't know why I like the number 15. Steelers 20, Bears 15. We at least get to 20. I don't think it quantifies as an explosion, though, because we don't break the 20-point mark.
Fair enough.
But I'm telling you, 42-40. Someone watch out for that.
Yikes.
Without that, Gingy, anything else?
I don't have anything else. Getting stoked for Monday Night Football, Donkey. Got a couple shout outs.
That's right.
I want to shout out Joe Scobert. Hell of a game last week. Game changing play. Welcome to Pittsburgh, big man. 6 tackles, freaking A. And I want to shout out Laskers. Laskers. Come home, Laskers. We miss ya.
Come home. Phone home.
That's all.
I gotta shout out 2 people. Purely because anytime someone gets an award, they get a shout out from me. Najee, AFC Rookie Offensive Player of the Month. Good.
Whoop.
Good job. Kudos to you. And little tipsy toe tap fingers Pat Freiermuth catching the game-changing touchdown after getting knocked out of his hand by Rodney Harrison and then getting both of them big-ass feet down. That's what you like to see.
That was a hell of a catch.
Hopefully more continued good stuff coming out of these tight ends, because let's be honest, they're about the only ones that Ben can't overthrow because they're all tall as shit. So, without further ado, I'll let you know where you can reach me. Viking Donkey, Xbox Viking _Donkey, Twitch and Twitter. This is the Daily Dose of Donkey with Ginger. Feel free to leave us a comment on the YouTube. Tell us what we're doing right. Telling us what we're doing wrong. Tell us if you'd like us to cover anything else. We actually spent a pretty good time talking AFC North football today. I enjoyed that, Gingy. It was a good change of pace. Thank you for that. I did appreciate it.
Heck yeah, Donkey. Enjoy it as always. This is Mutant Gingy, finding it on Xbox Live. Chatting football with the Viking Donkey. Rocking it out. Let's go, Steelers Nation. Get ready for Monday night. Wave 'em if you got 'em.